Most people get their first car rental vehicle completely wrong. They either overpay at the dealership, they buy the wrong type of car, or they finance it in a way that eats up their profits before they even get started. Like Warren Buffett says, profits are made on the buy, not on the sell. All right, so today, guys, I'm going to be showing you the exact strategy to use to buy your first car rental vehicle the right way. So let's get right into it. What type of vehicles should you guys be buying? I'm going to walk you guys through the car types and how you guys should buy this. All right, so first off, for those of you guys who are starting, maybe you don't have as much money to get into the exotics, the luxury cars. Start off with the economy cars, right? It's a tried and true business model. It's 365 days a year. There's no slow seasons with it. Ideally, it's going to be cars like your Toyotas, your Hondas, Fords, your Chevys, all right? Those are reliable vehicles, all right? Like your Camrys, your Malibus, your Accords, your Ford Fusions. These are reliable vehicles to start with, okay? Now, why are you buying these vehicles, economy cars? High demand, like I mentioned earlier, all right? Your cars are going to stay out 365 days of the year for the most part. All right, just a few weeks of a slow season, but the whole year, that cars go at least at 80 to 90% utilization. It's cheap to maintain. It's not going to cost you a lot of money to fix any issues that come up with these cars. There are tons of junkyards that will sell you parts, or online websites that will sell you parts for super cheap. So you can fix any major issues that happen with the car. And essentially, they pay for themselves fast. You build up equity super quick. In a matter of months, cars are paid off. You don't have to finance these vehicles out for years. What year should you buy? Typically anywhere from your 2010s to your 2018s. You want to buy reliable, you don't want to buy brand new. All right, don't equate new to reliability. There's very older cars that could be very reliable and are making some of my mentees a lot of money. You just need to know who to put the cars, give the cars to, and depending on the age, all right? Maybe if the car is super old, hey, you don't have to give it to an Uber driver, give it to a DoorDash driver, right? Food delivery people. How much should you be spending on these vehicles? I don't want you guys spending too much. 10K is too high. Anything over 10K is too high. Ideally, if you really know how to buy these vehicles, you're spending anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 max. What should you avoid when you're buying these cars? I don't want you going to go buy luxury cars or exotic cars for your first vehicle, especially if you don't have the resources to get into that industry. All right, there's some of you guys that you want to get into the big boy cars like I do, then you can reach out privately and I'll walk you guys through that process. All right, but if you're doing the economy cars, you can't afford to get into the exotics. All right, not everybody has $220,000 to spend on the Lambo. Instead, start off small. Start off with the economy cars. Trust me, you have enough of those, they will pay for your Lambo. I don't want you guys buying new, all right, because you're going to lose up to 30% the second you drive off the lot. You don't want that depreciation, all right, because you're going to end up with negative equity on that deal. Don't buy salvage or rebuild title cars either. You can't get insurance on them. And plus, because of something called the Graves Amendment, God forbid there's an accident, you can get sued because you put a renter behind a car that wasn't roadworthy. Where do you buy these vehicles? First option is going to be auctions. Now, if you happen to have auction access or know someone that has auction access, this would be the best way to get these vehicles, all right? Why? Because you're getting these cars at wholesale prices. This is what the dealers are paying, all right? So typically it's going to be 30 to 50% cheaper than buying them on the street. Now, how do you do this? Once again, through dealers, if you have a dealer license, or you bring someone who already has one, all right, and they can get you these cars for cheap. Option number two is going to be through private sellers. So you can use Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist, any of these sites online, or you just see somebody with a sign on their car, and you can stop by and go ask them about the vehicle. All right, why? Because you get better prices than when you go to the dealers. All right, there's no markup. A lot of people also, maybe they're pressed for money and they just want to urgently get out of the vehicle. You never know what their circumstances are. Maybe they're going through a divorce. All right, you never know. They can't drive anymore. They just need to get rid of their vehicle. Now, how do you negotiate on these cars? Obviously, you want to have done your research, know what the market value of the vehicle is, and then you want to go there, ideally bring in some cash. Obviously, you want to do a thorough inspection, point out the imperfections on the vehicle, and then that way it forces them to drop the price, because you're going to have to spend some money to fix the car. And actually, true story, I just sold my Lambo actually just yesterday, and when I took it to the dealership, actually Audi of Plano here, they tore me up. They actually gave me emotional trauma because they they even pointed out things I didn't even know were problems in my vehicle, right? And why were they doing all of that? So they can give me a lowball offer on my vehicle, all right? But obviously I already knew the value, what my car was worth and how much I should be paid for it. And then so I stuck to my guns and I was prepared. And that leads me to my next point. Be prepared to walk away if needed. So if the seller is not willing to negotiate with you, they're not willing to budge on the price, be prepared to walk away. 8 times out of 10, that will cause them to drop the price. And it worked for me also at Audi, because when I was prepared to walk away. Guess what? They ended up giving me $30,000 extra on my trade-in. Option number three on where to get these vehicles is going to be dealership, but only those that are willing to give you a steep discount. I don't want you guys going out there and paying sticker price. And then one thing too is when you go to these dealerships, typically if you're doing the economy cars, you want to go to the smaller dealerships, right? Or if you go to the bigger dealerships, maybe they're selling a car that they got on a trade-in, right? And they just want to get rid of it, like a quick flip for them. They're not investing too much in the car to pretty it up to sell, and then you're able to go in there, establish a relationship with them, and then you could pick that car up for the cheap. Another thing you want to avoid also is dealer add-ons. Avoid that, like their tire packages, their gap insurance, and all shipping fees. 9 times out of 10, matter of fact, 10 times out of 10, those prices are overinflated. I mean, golly, just to give you guys an example, I just bought a Lamborghini yesterday, right? The dealer and the finance director offered me a warranty package. You will not believe the price on this. A 2-year warranty he tried to sell me. This was some off-brand warranty because I wasn't buying this Lamborghini from Lamborghini. It was at Audi. And he was trying to offer me a $24,000 warranty package for 2 years. Like, you guys must be out your mind. Now, for someone else that's out there that's naive and hasn't really done this or gone through this process before, I could see how they could use fear to cause you to go spend that kind of money and finance that. Once they bake that into the financing, my payments were going to go up an extra $1,000. That $24,000 package, at the end of my finance term, will probably end up costing me over $30,000 to $35,000. That's ridiculous. So these dealers make a lot of money from these add-ons. Pass on all of those, all right? Only buy if you're able to negotiate the price down, all right? That's the whole thing. You want to come in there with equity. Once again, you're making money on the buy. That's the key thing, right? Trying to get the car less than true market value. The key strategies here too, when you're going out there and buying these cars, is you always want to buy the oldest year of the newest body style. What do I mean? Let's say a body style of a car was changed in 2020. You want to buy the 2020, you want to buy the 2021 versions. You don't want to buy the newest body style. So if the body style changed in 2020, 2021, and now we're in 2026, you want to go buy the oldest year. So you want to go buy the 2020 version, the 2021 version, right? You don't want to go buy the 2026 version that's probably highly marked up, right? Even though it still looks the same. So the 2026 still looks exactly the same as the 2020. I want you buying the 2020. Don't go buy the 2026. What's the point? Because the person that bought the 2020 is still going to make the same exact amount of money as you. All right. So that's one thing that's very key that you need to always have in the back of your mind when you're buying these cars. All right. Now, example, a Toyota Camry. The Toyota Camry in 2014 looks exactly the same as the 2018 Camrys. All right. So why would you go buy a 2018 Camry that has probably a 25-30% markup on it? All right. They look exactly the same. It costs half the price of 2014 one and will rent for the same exact amount of money. So always keep these things at the back of your mind. If you are ready to get your first car and you want my help doing this the right way, I want you guys to click the link in the description to book a strategy call with me or my team, and we'll walk you through exactly what you guys need to do to spin up your own private car rental business so you guys can build real money and real wealth. Guys, let's jump into section number 3. All right. So how do you pay for these cars? The first option and the best option obviously is if you have some kind of cash, right? If you have cash, cash is king. You show up there, you have cash in hand, you always get the best deals, no interest. The car will pay for itself essentially within 3 to 6 months. All right, that's always the best way. Another form of using cash here is if you have a credit card, like a business credit card with no interest for 12 months or a personal credit card with no interest for a long time. You could pull that cash out, or you can connect it to your PayPal or your Apple Pay, your Cash App, and pay the seller directly. That's kind of same as cash, right? Even though you're using leverage. Now, the next way to pay for the vehicle is going to be financing. Obviously, you could use your local credit union or a regional bank, get good rates, and they cut you a check and you go buy the vehicle. I want you guys to avoid high interest rates, right? Don't let the dealers take advantage of you and charge you double-digit interest. It's hard to get back from that. I know you might be thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to rent this car. It doesn't matter. Trust me. Interest piles up and you don't want to end up paying more for the vehicle in the long run. All right, so anything that's not single digit interest, you don't want to get into that. All right, and also avoid terms longer than 60 months. All right, that can be dangerous. It's gonna lead into negative equity. The only time doing longer term notes, like going through banks like Woodside Credit, is if you're doing classic or exotic cars that tend to appreciate or hold value very well. It's the only time I'll suggest that you do those long drawn out loan terms. Because here, guys, at the end of the day, the goal is to be able to pay it off fast using the income from the rentals. All right, that's how you're building equity up in the car. And then when you go, just like with my Lamborghini, when I went back to go trade it in yesterday, this car has already paid itself off several times over. That it was just free money for me, and I have so much equity in there. I think I still only owed 80,000 on the car, and I had an extra almost $70,000-$80,000, which I just rolled into the new car in equity that we rolled into the new car, and so that dropped the payments on the new car I was getting into, right? So that's the situation you want to see yourself in if you're financing any of your vehicles. The next set of thing is going to be immediately after after you buy, what do you do next? All right. So once you've bought the vehicles, the first things you have to do is go get some kind of commercial insurance on the car. All right. You got to get commercial insurance on the car. This would typically cost you anywhere from $80 to $130 per month per car. Okay. Then you want to go install your GPS trackers. All right. Make sure your tracker has a kill switch so you can shut the vehicle off. This is also going to cost you anywhere from $80 to somewhere about $150 just for the equipment. You need rental software because you're going private. We're renting directly to customer. We're not using the platforms like Turo. Okay, so for that, you're going to need to be able to send contracts to your customers. You're going to need to be able to collect credit card payments and hold security deposits and all of that stuff. So you need rental software. We like Fleet Finesse has partnered with us. You can use fleetfinesse.com, and their rates only anywhere from $97 to $147 per month, depending on which plan you get. And then you go out there and you start finding your customers. That's it. All right. So like I mentioned, you can go to body shops, mechanic shops, Facebook marketplaces, so many Instagrams, Facebook, so many places out there where you can get customers and then get your vehicle rented. Now, the goal here is to get it rented at least within a week of getting the car. Okay. I don't want you guys staying focused, getting distracted, doing too many things and trying to pretty up the house. No, I want you guys to immediately get this thing rented, get this thing on the road. All right. So once the car is 100% ready, you've gotten your insurance, you've gotten your trackers, you got your rental software. Within a week, that car needs to be on the road. Okay. And so, guys, look, getting your first car, especially getting it the right way, is critical, guys. All right. This is a mistake I see a lot of people make. They overpay for their vehicles, or they don't buy the right cars that their avatar wants, and then they get stuck in this industry. All right. So, guys, go out there. If you're starting off from scratch, go buy an economy car, like I mentioned, like a Camry, an Accord, or Ford Fusion, anything under $5,000 if possible. Right. Buy it from an auction, buy it from a private seller, pay cash if you can. All right. And as soon as you buy it, go get your insurance, go get the trackers, go get your rental software, and go out there and start getting customers. All right. Let's go get that money out there. Now, once again, if you want my help, helping you find your first car, set up your car rental business the right way. All right. Getting your risk management in place. All right. I want you guys to click the link in the description to book a strategy call with me or my team, and let's get you started the right way. And I'll see you guys on the inside.